Thank you, Reverend Patty, and good morning, everyone. So I have known our special guest, my friend Lynelle, for almost 30 years now. And in that time, actually early on, I realized that whatever Lynelle does, whether it's personal or professional, she does with an abundance of heart and humanity and grace. She has a natural ability to just make you feel at home, to let you know that she sees you and she hears you and that you matter. And her work now with SafeSleep United, that she'll be sharing with us in just a couple seconds, is a further expression of that beautiful light within. So please join me in welcoming, from SafeSleep United, Lynelle Wilcox. Yeah.
So I'm Lynelle with SafeSleep, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to thank you for the donations that you have shared with us, and to also have a chance to share a little bit more about what we do. SafeSleep United is an overnight, low-barrier, non-denominational women's shelter, and it was started in 2019, so we're about 3 years old. Because Inside Out Ministries was a church that chose to outreach to people experiencing homelessness. And when they did that, they started hearing people's stories because they were building relationships and trust. And women elders started a women's group, and they were hearing from people that had become their friends that they had been sex trafficked, raped, assaulted, had become addicted to meth or other drugs. And as you're getting to know people as your friends and starting to hear how much they've been through and the trauma and survival mode that they've had to live in just to be able to exist, one of the elders just said she went home and slept on it, and God told her she needed to open a women's shelter. It needed to be called SafeSleep. It needed to sleep 50 ladies. It needed to be open 7 to 7. And I told her, your God is very specific. So she was looking for a place to be able to start the shelter. She went from place to place looking for property, realtors, land, buildings. And when she spoke with the CEO of United Way, Rhonda Wolf, Rhonda felt like the vision really matched United Way's vision and mission. So United Way decided to do this. So we've been in business for, we've been open for 3 years now. We started with a capacity of 10 beds, and then the fire marshal approved us for 19. We're currently in the process of we're going to have a remodel start in March or April, and then we're going to have 40 beds, so we'll be able to sleep 40 people instead of just 19. Last year, we provided 5,348 bed nights, which is one person, one bed, one night. We served 8,948 meals. That's a continental breakfast and a hot meal every night. The community has come forward, and different people and churches bring us a hot dinner every single night because we don't really have a kitchen. And we provided safe sleep for 190 women, 4 children, 10 cats, 12 dogs, and 1 pet rat. And that's because we're low barrier. So what does low barrier mean? Low barrier means that we're welcoming people where they're at. So we don't screen for drugs, alcohol, criminal history. Women are able to leave their property with us within reason, so they don't have to lug their bags with them as they go out into the world to do things and try to move forward. And we also welcome pets, and that's huge. There's a woman who came to us to volunteer, and she was in tears. She said, if I could have brought my cat, I would have been off the streets years, earlier than I was, but nobody would take my cat, so it took her longer. We're welcoming people where they're at. We welcome ladies in with, come in, have a hot meal, have a warm bed, and we also offer them pajamas. When I first started working at SafeSleep, I'm the program manager, but my first year I did graveyard every single night. So the ladies who open were all about the pajamas. And I really didn't care about the pajamas. I'm getting the ladies who I'm waking them up gently and, hey, it's time to go because we're just overnight. And then when we had more staffing, I was able to open. And when I was able to tell a lady, like, hey, would you like some pajamas to wear? Several ladies just broke out into tears because they said they hadn't had anything pretty or cozy or warm to wear for years. As a low barrier shelter, we're getting like a complete spectrum. We get women who've maybe left violence, had a spouse die, suddenly can't afford the rent. Some women have gone to take care of aging parents, and when the parents die, they weren't on the lease and they can't afford the rent. So women are becoming homeless for so many different reasons, as are men. But they end up in a situation where they have nowhere to go, and we're able to give them some welcomeness, some supplies, some hygiene items, some coziness, some stability to be able to move forward and grow hope. And as we're doing that, we're seeing what a difference it can make. So every donation from yours or anyone else's, no matter how big or small, every single donation contributes to Our Ladies directly, unless it's a donation specifically for our remodel fund. So we buy the supplies that we need, and whether it's hot cocoa, cereal, protein bars, instant oatmeal, hair brushes, pajamas, fresh fruit to be able to have an extra nice breakfast or a fancy dessert just to make a regular day a little more special. The ladies are welcome and they're safe, and they can have a little bit of stuff that helps them feel like a regular person again. And, we talk about the bed nights, and we talk about the women who get an apartment or a job, and those are significant things. And we do case management, even though we're just open at night. We always ask ladies what they need, and we provide them with a resource packet and ask them about how we can help along the way. So the typical successes are you got an apartment, you got a job. But the other successes, and these are the things that actually play out from the donations that we receive. One woman was really super shy, and she got a job, and it wasn't a good fit. But she had been so shy that just getting that one job was huge. But she was brave enough to quit her job and try again because it wasn't a fit. I wish we thought of success more broadly, because the kinds of success, one woman she just was almost catatonic, and we just kept giving her food and resources and cozy pajamas and a hairbrush, and her hair was really matted, but she started to brush her hair. She started to put on makeup. And, that wouldn't seem like a success, except that she had been so shy and so beaten down because of what life is like on the streets that now she wanted to look pretty. So somebody just not, going from catatonic to caring about how she looks really is a success. There was a woman who was terrified. She was fleeing domestic violence. She stayed with us as she was terrified, and we, finally she got more relaxed and felt at home at the shelter. And she went back to her ex, but at least now she knows that she can come back and there is a safe place for her to go. There was a woman who came in who'd been brutally raped, and she was always dressing in baggy clothes so she wouldn't attract attention. And over time, she wanted to dress in girly clothes, and that wouldn't seem like a big deal, except that she wasn't letting the rapist win. She realized that, it can always look like, what were you wearing and were you asking for it? But when she decided to believe that it wasn't her fault and it never had been her fault, and she let herself bloom pretty, she wasn't letting the rapist win. So suddenly she wants pretty clothes. She doesn't have a job or an apartment yet, but she's wearing pretty clothes because she's not letting them win. There was a woman who had no hope. She'd given up on life herself. She was addicted to meth. She wasn't going to get any help for her addiction because she really believed she's going to die on the streets. It's not, will she? It's just when. So why go through all that hard work and trying to conquer your addiction when you're just going to die on the streets? But over time, she started to feel like maybe she's worthy. Maybe she has some purpose. Maybe her life could turn around. Maybe she could have a better life. And she started to just stop. She started caring. You can't help someone who's already killed themselves in their head, and she stopped killing herself in her head. Success can be when someone comes in worn down with no opinions, no oomph, no nothing. She'll take anything that you give her just without even barely saying thank you, because she's just so traumatized from what she's been through. And one day she turns down the pink shirt you give her and asks for green. And, you know, you could think beggars can't be choosers, but really, this is a woman who had no voice, who found her voice, who remembered that her favorite color was green, and she was brave enough to ask for it. So the donations that we get are what we try to get those pretty things. We try to get the little extras. We try to get the things that help someone feel like you are worthy. And as you see ladies starting to feel worthy and grow their hope, then you know that you can make a difference. And there are so many people in the community, including this church, that has been so kind and generous to us. And that enables us to pay our bills. But the donations that are given from people, those go directly to the shelter to be able to buy those little extras that help people feel worthy. Just a hairbrush, just a nail clippers are huge. Women just haven't had a chance to cut their nails, and one woman was saying, you know, and it's rude to cut your nails in public, so what are you going to do? But these little things are what we use the donations for that really help someone feel like a worthy human being again. And we do this work because treating someone like an equitable human being and welcoming them where they're at and just being there as a safe place with a warm bed and a hot meal and a few extras can help people feel worthy and grow hope again. And from there, you never know what changes can come because they haven't killed themselves in their head anymore. And I have all kinds of stuff I could share with you as far as little successes and where our shelter is in case you see any homeless women who might need a place to be. But I also know I'm probably out of time. But as just a quickie, there's many women falling through the cracks. There's more women than I ever realized who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s and have nowhere to go. And we can accept people even if they're high and tipsy as long as their behavior can be generally respectful and as long as they can do activities of daily living independently, and some people can't. So we still need places for people to go, the people who are falling through the cracks, the men and the women. There's over 1,800 homeless individuals in Marion and Polk County, and about 40% of them are women. So we want to be that place where people can come, and every single donation helps us provide that welcomeness and that homeness and that ability for somebody to feel like they really are a valued person and they're worthy again. Thanks.
Thank you for making a difference. I can't quit crying. It's an honor to have you here and know that you are making a difference in these lives and that we can have some small part in it.
It's a big part. Thank you.